Hey up, I'm Guy Kestevan, the Tester Man, and this is my review of the Ravemen PR 2400. A really great blend of outstanding beam for its category in terms of both reach and usable breadth. Really good, useful, practical tech, and excellent reliability. The only downsides are that it's round bar only and the run times are a bit short because of all that tech and because of the power of the beam. So that's the summary. Let's get into the specifics and see whether this is the light for you. So starting off, in terms of output, quite a distinctive front end on it. It's similar to the Ravemen XR 6000, the much more powerful light. You've got a central spot beam there, but it's behind quite an aggressive diffractor lens. So in the single mode on the front, you basically get a 1 point right down the center, really quite pronounced spot beam, and then more of a flood diffused around your front wheel. And then when you kick it into high mode, that illuminates 4 LEDs around the side of it, which are, again, they're a spot beam. Each LED, there's no refraction over the top of the lens, and you know there's nothing weird going on with the optics on those. But because of the way they're spaced and the way they're angled, it actually gives quite a broad flood around. So you'll see in the riding video, there is still quite a hot spot in the centre caused by that central spot beam. But then out to the side, there's a really good even coverage. So it's actually really relaxing on the eye. And if we put all 4 of the lights now in the category, well, not quite in the category, I mean that magic shine up there is 3500 lumens and the exposure is almost double the price of this. You can see despite that, in terms of overall beam and power, you've got a really good output from this Ravemen. And also, while it comes in a road mode as standard, which only uses that central LED, which gives a maximum of 900 lumens down to 100 lumens. If you put it in the MTB mode, you've got 3 brightness modes like that, but then you can switch between single and all the LEDs. Plus, not only can you do it with the 2 buttons on the back, as I've just shown there, you get a wireless remote with the light. And it's really easy to pair, and apart from the fact that this is only IPX4 in terms of waterproofing, whereas the light is an exceptional IPX8 sealing standard, that's the only real downside of that. So just be careful, you know, don't drop that in a puddle and don't jet wash your bike with it on. But this, you could go looking for the Titanic with considerably more success than the last bloke who went looking for it with this light, I reckon. It really is that waterproof. So I'll just dull the beam to be less dazzling there for you. But the great thing about that is it means you can obviously run through the modes. I mean, brilliantly, when I went out and shot those beam shots, I forgot to take it with me, so you'll see me do it manually rather than with the remote. But even if you're not using the remote, those buttons are relatively easy to find on the back. Plus, let's just get through that on again. You've actually got a really useful little OLED panel on the back there, which doesn't just give you like a bar style runtime. It actually gives you an hour a minute runtime on the back of the light there. I mean, I would say when the lights are new, that's very accurate. As they get older, that tends to be a little bit optimistic. My mate Andy, who I ride with, has been running one of these for over 2 years now from a previous test batch. And his is now a little bit optimistic in terms of run times on there. But otherwise, it's just a really nice having an actual sort of hours and minutes guide rather than just a guesstimate, just going, oh, well, I think I know how long a quarter, one bar is out of 4 or anything like that. It's good enough to give you a good read on how long you've got left in terms of ride time on this light. It's just over 300 grams, this light, 304 grams. So again, a little bit heavy to put on your helmet. And also that's the only clamp available for it at the moment. Weirdly, they do a GoPro mount for the PR2000, but they don't do one for the 2400 now. So while this is a really neat light, it's like a little slip-on shoe with a magnetic sort of booster catch on there, as well as this little quick release as kind of belts and braces security thing. It'll only fit on round bars at the moment. You get a spacer, so it does 31.8 or 35, and also that tightening screw there is actually quite, even with the light out of it, it's actually quite awkward to reach with some multi-tools, but you do get the appropriate Allen key in the set with the light, so just take that with you in case you need to adjust it, because it's a little bit off center, because the light, you can see if I let go of it there on the center point of the light, it naturally tips forward. So do make sure that is nice and secure in case it does edge forward a little bit. But just going back to the casing again, this all aluminium casing, you've got ribs underneath and ribs on the side to keep it relatively cool. And unlike its big brother, the XR6000, had no problems with throttling back due to overheating on this. So to get back to the original point I was going to make about runtime, their claimed runtime from Ravemen is 1 hour and 30 minutes. However, when I've done my testing, I always test them 3 times, would average it out from there. I've actually got over 1 hour and 40 minutes out of it. So although it isn't great, it's actually better than Ravemen claim. And a real win is not only, if you just pop open these little advent calendars on the back, again, really well sealed for that IPX8 rating, not only have you got a USB outlet there, so you can use it as a power bank to charge other devices, but also you've got a USB-C inlet, which you use for charging, but you could also use for what they call pass-through charging. So you can put a USB-C power bank into the back of this light. It does affect potentially the waterproofing, so don't do it in bad weather. But then, you can boost the battery as much as you want, and that'll even run off an e-bike battery as well. If you've got an e-bike with a USB-C outlet in the display, in the top tube display, like a lot of them do have, you can actually run this as an e-bike light with pass-through charging. The only thing Ravemen do say is that can affect the output. Depending on the source, you might not get full power on it. But, it's definitely a really useful additional boost to what is otherwise relatively short runtime. Although, because the lighting is actually such good quality, I'd say you can run this light in lower power settings and still get good visibility. You don't have to run it full chat like some lights in this category. And as long as you manage that runtime, and as long as you're happy using it on round bars and you don't want to use it on your helmet as well, it's just a really outstanding package, like I said at the start, in terms of really good sort of practical durability and reliability on every setup we've tried on the PR2400 and also on other Ravemen lights I've used over the years. A really, really good beam pattern. And you even get a wireless remote with it, which is pretty much unheard of for this category and for this price. This kind of mid-power, mid-price category, you normally only get remotes on the bigger, more expensive lights. And then when you get that OLED screen on the back, so you can manage those run times, and also it shows you what mode you're in, then that's an absolute win. So yeah, I mean, it pretty much ticks every box you could want. And while, the RRP, 200 quid, is relatively high, you can easily find these for about 150 quid or less if you do a bit of Googling. So, and I've got a bunch of other lights in this category. We've got Lezine, we've got Cat Eye, we've got Magic Shine, we've got the Exposure as well, and I'll have the Outbound light in as well, which is, it kind of almost sits outside the category. And if you want to know what I mean by that, go watch the review on that. But anyway, like I say, loads of lights in this category, plus I'll be reviewing lights above and below that in terms of power and price. And if all of this that I've been chatting on about has been a bit bewildering, then make sure you watch my How to Buy Your Perfect Lights guide, where hopefully I explain some of the terms and technology that I've been chatting about here a little bit better. But for now, I've been Guy Kesterman on Guy Kes TV, talking about the Ravemen PR 2400. A bit of a benchmark when it comes to high-tech, high-power, self-contained lights in the affordable mid-power, mid-price category.